In the Russian capital this early Sunday morning, the 29th of November. I'm Kevin Owen, and the main story we're covering this morning, the Moscow-St. Petersburg train disaster. At a day after what the police say was a terrorist attack, the railway workers are still working hard now to try to get the route back to full operation. Several passenger trains have been able to get through to St. Petersburg. It will now, though, be a painful time for the relatives of the victims, of some of whom have arrived to identify the bodies. Matt Trezor brings this report from the scene.
In just a matter of seconds, passengers packed into the Nevsky Express were thrown into a living nightmare of twisted and mangled wreckage. 663 passengers had tickets for the journey that left Moscow at 7 p.m. Friday. Little did they know, within 3 hours, more than 20 would be dead and nearly 100 injured.
I felt like the walls began to move, and it seemed like it was in slow motion. I realized something was wrong and told everyone to get down on the floor. You only see these things in movies. There was darkness, a loud noise, and lots of rocks.
About 10 minutes after we passed Balagoya, the train began to shake. Then it felt like we hit something, and everyone ended up on the floor. Then somebody got me out of the car.
Officials believe a powerful blast caused by more than 7 kilograms of explosives tore apart the back half of the train, leaving a gaping crater in the track below. The train was traveling nearly 200 kilometers per hour. Its momentum derailed several cars. One brought down an electrical pole, causing even more damage.
It was around 9 p.m. I was reading a newspaper, then there was a loud crackle and the carriage started leaning. I was thrown out of my seat and dragged several meters along the carriage. A total of 3 carriages derailed, but only 2 of them actually overturned. We carried 20 people out with very serious injuries. There were 3 women, but they died. We couldn't save them. There was a little girl. I think she's fine. She can move on her own.
Passengers did what they could for the victims, even though many couldn't be helped.
We were trying to free those who were trapped under seats and metal. Unfortunately, we couldn't save everyone.
Investigators will be sorting through the wreckage while they hunt for answers. Doctors say injured survivors who witnessed the horror will need time to heal, both physically and psychologically. Matt Trezor, RT, Likoshina.
There was a second bomb planted at the site of the derailment, but it failed to explode at the time of the crash. It was only discovered when it went off on Saturday without causing any further injuries or damage. Russia's Interior Ministry has also confirmed it has information about potential suspects. RT's Igor Piskunov reports.
It may be one of the deadliest terror attacks in Russia outside the Caucasus in the last 5 years.
Fragments of an explosive device have been discovered. We can seriously consider this as a terrorist attack. So a criminal case has been launched into 2 crimes, terrorism and illegal arms trafficking.
According to Russia's police chief, several people are suspected of committing the attack, and their photo fits are already being made. Investigators have also been able to determine the force of the explosion.
Preliminary evidence suggests it was an explosion of a homemade device equivalent to 7 kilograms of TNT.
But as it turned out on Saturday, the attack could have been even worse. At an emergency meeting with the government, the head of Russian Railways, the company operating the train, reported a second explosion at the scene of the disaster. Fortunately, Vladimir Yakunin said the bomb failed to explode properly, a malfunction which may have saved the lives of rescuers searching for survivors. Russian Railways has promised to pay more than $6,000 in compensation to every person injured in the attack, and around $17,000 to each family whose close ones lost their lives. The Russian government and the president have vowed to take full control of the situation.
Work must be conducted in several directions: medical assistance and social support, restoration of freight and passenger links, maintaining security, and finally the whole complex of investigative measures.
The same train has been attacked before. In 2007, a bomb on the tracks derailed several carriages. Fortunately, no one was killed, but dozens were injured. Authorities also started a criminal case on the counts of terrorism and found 2 suspects. Both are currently under trial. Most trains from Moscow to St. Petersburg depart from this station. Nevsky Express usually takes less than 5 hours to make the journey. That's why it is quite popular. And as one of the busiest train routes in Russia is targeted for the second time in less than 3 years, Friday's attack has sent shockwaves across the whole country. Igor Piskunov, RT, Moscow.
The train involved in the crash, the Nevsky Express, first went into service in 2001. It became the fastest form of land transport between Moscow and St. Petersburg. The train's capable of speeds of up to 200 kilometres an hour and makes no stops along the way, meaning that a journey of 4.5 hours is possible, which is almost half the usual time. There are 13 carriages for passengers, accommodating over 600 people. Russian Railways announced last year that the train will soon be taken out of service when a new, more modern replacement will be unveiled. A little earlier I spoke to Fred Weir. He's a journalist from the Christian Science Monitor. He told me the Nevsky Express attack may now bring back fear and panic to Russian society.
Terrorism is a global virus. Many countries are suffering from it, and it's hard to think yourself inside the mind of the terrorists. But I think what they want is to spread social panic, to elicit a political crackdown, which makes states more ossified and generates social resentments. This is, I think, their political agenda. The biggest single problem and danger that we're facing is that there can be the return of a social mood of panic and fear.
Fred Weir, their journalist from the Christian Science Monitor. Stay with RT for full coverage of the aftermath of Friday's tragic event.